so welcome back to Elektro Vox. I have a very special guest with me this time. I actually have KANGA, so
Hi.
thank you ever so much for taking some time to speak to me.
Thanks for having me.
For the very few people that haven't heard of you, and very few it must be, please tell them what it is that you do and who you are, really.
I am a producer and musician. I run the gamut of industrial to synthwave to darkwave to pop. I have remixed numerous people, including Three Teeth, Aesthetic Perfection, Danny Blue, Clipping. I've produced for other artists such as Ray Noir, and I've toured with Gary Newman, and I just came off a tour with My Life as a Thrill Kill Cult, an adult.
Oh, wow. Okay.
And flew 20 hours here after my last show with them in Dallas, and
20 hours?
Well, yeah,
Ooh.
20 hours of traveling, and very sleep deprived, but happy to be here.
I can imagine.
Yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what it is that you're working on at the moment and what we can sort of expect from you in the near future.
So I just wrapped up an album that was a venture more into pop and writing rather than my sort of dancey, like producer heavy albums that I did. And I'm really proud of it, but I'm sort of venturing into a new direction. I started a new band that I haven't officially announced or discussed yet.
Ooh, okay.
That I'm very excited about. And so the next little bit of time I'm going to be focusing on that. So I'm really excited about that.
And that's all you can say for now, I would imagine.
I mean, I can say more now, but I'm collaborating with a producer in Kyiv, Ukraine,
Okay.
and we started a band together. And for the past year, we've been working on it. It's a metal, sort of bedroom metal type band that uses liminal spaces and heavy riffs. And we obviously can't play shows because of where he is, so we are collaborating with a production group called General Violence to make some short films and music videos and stuff like that. And we've kept it under wraps for the past little bit, but on April 11th, our first track will be coming out. So it'll be like kind of a surprise drop. So this might be coming out after, which is why or even if it does not come out after, I can talk about it now.
Yeah, but like people can find this on your Facebook, I guess.
Yeah.
Your socials, it'll be dropped.
Yeah, we haven't like started our socials for the new band yet, but I'll be posting about it on like my Instagram. So yeah, I'm really excited about that. It's very like Deftones, bedroom core, heavy metal with like ethereal. Yeah, it's really cool.
Nice.
So yeah, check that out, April 11th. And our name is Backpool. So
Nice.
Backpool, yeah.
Okay, and so with your career, what moment did you realize that you actually wanted to make the music that you do?
Pretty early on, actually. I was a really, really big Skinny Puppy fan when I was super young. They were like the first band that I got into that wasn't like pop music. So I went straight from like Britney Spears to Skinny Puppy. The Britney Spears to Skinny Puppy pipeline, basically. I heard it, and I was always musically inclined. I've always played instruments. But it was the first music that I was like, oh, I didn't know music could do that. And so I immediately enrolled in a commercial recording arts program at my high school, and then later continued on in college with that. And that was, I mean, I'm a Nine Inch Nails and Skinny Puppy are probably like the two biggest like musical influences in my life, but Skinny Puppy was the facilitator of me like wanting to make this type of music. So
yeah, I mean, probably quite a common thing for a lot of artists, but yeah, definitely always a good starting point. And tell us a little bit about I mean, you've already mentioned your album that's just come out, so tell us a bit more about the release. What can people sort of hear on it, what's different, and sort of some other thoughts about it?
Yeah, so I mean, I came from like a producer background. So for the longest time, I was very much into writing the heaviest beat, making a dance floor hit, and I wasn't able to really like focus on sort of like the singing or the songwriting. And I started venturing into that with You and I Will Never Die, and made a very like heartfelt and storytelling record with that. But after that came out, I really wanted to like showcase myself as like a singer-songwriter, and I kind of felt like I already made the industrial album, I already made the dark wave album. I want to try something a little different and collaborate with some other producers and have some different ears, you know, like on my stuff, and see what happens. And yeah, it was a really great experience to have like more of like a collaborative album for the first time. I still did a lot of the production, but I felt like I got to kind of like sit down and think about like singing and you know, like focus on things that I wasn't able to before, because I was so concerned with like minutia, like how to compress a snare. You know, it's like you can only really focus so much on like one thing, and I felt like I was able to become like a songwriter and a singer, like finally, and that actually like translates even to like my older stuff, like performing my older stuff. I might re-record that, you know, just because I sing better and differently, like those older songs that I have that I still like love and cherish, you know.
And I know that even when artists love their original albums they've done before, it's always the case when I ask this question, it's usually the latest album. Mm-hmm. But what song or album of yours are you most proud of, and why?
I mean, You and I Will Never Die was really like my everything. You know, that was me from like start to finish. And that was in a very like important and tumultuous time for me. So I feel like I've psychoanalyzed this so much. I think that maybe the reason why my latest album, which I love, it's sonically so lush and layered and polished. I came to the latest album from like a place of like love and health, and I had never done that before because my previous record was made with such angst and like agony, and I feel like because of that record it almost like healed me, like Making You and I like literally healed my soul and sort of allowed me to like move on from a lot of like trauma and sadness and grief that I had been holding on to for so long. And I think that it allowed me to make this new record from like this place of like curiosity and exploration, and it kind of like proved to me that like I could make art without having to be like a severely fucked up person, if that makes sense.
It does.
Because I think a lot of artists kind of have like this fear of, oh, if I ever get happy, I won't make good music. And I had that fear, and not to say that I'm like a happy person, nonetheless, but I did feel like I sort of conquered that fear of like, oh, myself as like a creative person is intact. It's here regardless of like my external life, you know.
I mean, it's a bit of a cliche, isn't it? Most artists get their muse from pain and anguish, and I suppose if you can write out of that, it becomes a very different world.
I think it's just like learning how to like tap into different creativities, you know. It's like if you're used to writing from pain, your creativity kind of gets stuck in that. So if you don't have pain anymore, you're kind of like, what do I write about? And I think that creativity is like this sort of thing that like exists universally and you can tap into that. However, you just kind of have to find like a different route or a different mechanism or a different inspiration or something. But I do feel like creativity is always there. You just have to find it, you know? So, yeah.
Okay. And when it does come to other artists then, if you could have a hour-long conversation with any musical artists in history or living now, so any time, who would it be and why?
That's a good question. I have different answers for like different people. I would like to know Laurie Anderson's sort of, I think like PJ Harvey and Laurie Anderson, I would really want to know like, because I think that they're examples of artists that have, are really good at like channeling pain, but also wrote beautiful music that came outside of that, like the creative, tapping into different forms of creativity, like I was just talking about. So I would want to talk to them about creativity. Want to talk to Trent Reznor about like his literal thoughts on the music industry, you know? And I probably would want to talk to Beethoven just to kind of see what that dude was all about.
The original metal.
Yeah, exactly. Like, what's your deal, dude?
Okay, so changing it into a slightly silly question before I go back to some serious ones. I've asked a couple of artists today, you know, if they could have any weapon, what would it be? But because you are very stylish, especially in all of the new photos for your new album, if you could suddenly be given an armor of sci-fi, fantasy, heroic, anything that you would like, what would you be wearing?
Oh, an invisibility cloak for sure.
Armor then.
Armor, okay.
Armor, yeah.
Oh, then like a cool like helmet or like a headdress, which a very lovely woman who I should probably shout out, but I forgot her name. She just gave me one at like one of the vendors out there.
Yes.
You know who I'm talking about.
I do, because the one with the chain.
Yes.
Yes, because my partner is wearing one right now.
Yeah, so I'm going to be wearing that during my performance.
She's going to kill me because she's used. She's actually used my interview with other people wearing her headdress. Okay. And I've forgotten the name, but I will put
Hold
it
on.
up.
Can I look at my phone
Yes.
okay, because I have her on my phone, and she's such a sweetheart.
She is very good.
Cat's Little Factory.
That's it. All I could remember was Little Factory.
Yeah,
Yes.
Cat's Little Factory. Hit her stuff up. She's amazing. And I'm going to be wearing one of her headdresses. That's why I have to leave early, is because I have to fashion that headdress to my head in a way that won't fall off during my performance.
Yeah. My partner's problem today trying to get ready was like, how do I wear
Exactly.
it? But when she did, it's
Worth it. Yeah.
Okay. All right, and I've got two serious questions, then two silly ones.
Okay.
And we're done. So, if you, on a serious note, had a chance to say something to your younger self when you first started music, what would you say?
Don't sit on your music, release all of it. Because I have catalogs of music that I never released that I really, really regret not putting out when it was fresh and in my mind, and I just felt that like I was always sitting on it, waiting for like that moment, you know, to happen, like get signed to a big label or do this or do that, and I really, really wish that I had put out everything that I've ever done.
You say that there are a couple of bands that I've spoken to over the years who have done just a like unreleased. Just
I think that's in the future for sure. I do think that's in the future, but you know, it's like there's something about you gotta not think that there is like some big thing that you're working towards. You just have to do things in the moment, and you have to release what you're feeling and what you're working on in the moment, even if nothing comes from it, but just like getting it outside of you makes the biggest difference. And I just wish that I had more self-confidence when I was younger and wasn't scared to just do that, you know?
Yeah, I do. And in all the time that you've been doing music, what has been the most memorable night for you performing, whether it be because of the performance itself, the venue, the audience?
I mean, performing at the Roundhouse in London with Gary Newman was incredible, which is nice because I'm back in the UK for the first time since that tour.
Nice.
So that was a really big one. I'm really curious to see how tonight is going to go, because it seems like a good amount of people like know who I am and are going to come to the show.
Oh,
so
yeah. Resistance audience goes nuts.
Yeah, so I'm excited about that. But yeah, I'll say Roundhouse with Gary Newman. And I played a really good show in Dallas, Texas a couple of years ago that always stands out. And that's, I have a long lost sister that came to that show, and we reconnected, and she got to see probably the best reception I've ever gotten, for like me as a, being my show. So that was really memorable too.
Okay. And going on to the silly questions now to wrap things up. So if you could time travel to any point of history and just silently watch, what would that be in a way?
The dinosaurs. I want to know what they look like. Do they have feathers? Do they not have feathers? But another one would be, I don't know. I love biblical era stuff. I would really want to that era where all the like ancient texts were kind of written in. I would want to see like if there was some sort of like magic in the air that people were like tapping into, or if they were all just made up stories. But I kind of feel like there was a 300-year period. It was like I totally could be butchering this, but like a bunch of Eastern and Western texts were written in this like 300-year period. And I would really like to see what the world was like in that era. If there was just something magical that maybe we've lost.
Yeah, well, they always do say that, don't they? Magic's just been lost.
Yeah.
Well, not lost, but forgotten.
Yeah, yeah. I'd like to travel to a time in which maybe I could see some magic.
Okay.
Yeah.
And if one of your songs was chosen to communicate with aliens, what song would you pick? And what message would you be trying to tell them?
That's such a good question. Maybe Waiting.
Okay.
It's a very personal story from like a very personal moment, and it has like a crescendo in it that I've always just like, I wrote the crescendo first in that song and then wrote the song backwards from that. And I think that is the song that I've redid the most out of any other song I've ever done. Like rewrote it, like tried to figure out, make it perfect. And I feel like if an alien listened to that, they could maybe somehow pick up on the complexity of the process and the emotion that went into it. So I think that one would be
dedication, essentially.
Yeah, or like even if they had like some like telepathic powers, and they could tell that this song was rewritten 1,000,000 times and had a bunch of different choruses and a bunch of different arpeggiated bass sounds that were like thrown in and then replaced, and then.
And will you be playing this tonight?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Well, I look forward to that.
Thank you.
Okay. And yeah, great answer. So last thing I just wanted to ask, of course, is do you have anything you would like to say to your fans?
A big thank you. I've been doing this a really long time, and part of the reason why I'm sort of taking like a break from my solo stuff is because being a solo artist is very hard, and finding structure, infrastructural support in the music industry is very, very difficult. So I was unfortunately like not lucky enough to find the right label, the right agents, the right managers. But everything that I do have, that I have gotten, has been from the support of the people who have listened to me, who believe in me. My crowd is a small but very solid and dedicated one, and I think that like that has been literally the reason why all of the good things that have happened to me have happened to me. So just a massive thank you. And literally just make music and put it out, even if you don't feel like you're good enough, because you'll never feel good enough. Just do, not even music, just do whatever makes you happy, and don't put pressure on it. Just like let it live, and that brings a lot of peace, I've found.
Perfect. Well,
Yeah.
thank you
Thank
ever
you.
so much for taking time to talk to me.
Appreciate it. Thank you so much. I gotta put my headdress on now.
Thank you for watching.
Thank you very much. Bye.